Hey class, here I am again with another video demonstration and another optical illusion. This time we're going to use a different set of tools, but we're going to make something a little easier to handle. We're going to do something that looks like a stack of papers or folded papers. And I want you to get familiar with the tools and how you can use them to your benefit, and then see if you can make your own version of an optical illusion. All right. So the best way to start this one is by going on to the line tool and click on the first one, straight tool, straight line, sorry, make a vertical line, and then you can copy this same line throughout the paper. So I go back to the select tool and I can copy this line in a few different ways. If you do a right click with the mouse, it gives you this little menu where you can click copy. And if you do another right click, it gives you the option of pasting it. Okay, so I move it away just a few inches. I paste it again. And another way to copy and paste is by going on your keyboard and pressing Control C and Control V to paste. So Control C, Control V. And then I move it again. And I want to have about 5 lines. You can have up to 6 to get a nice, interesting design. So the more lines you have, the more intricate your design is going to look. So the next step is to go back to the line tool, select that straight line again, and start creating your pattern. So I start on the top left, I go down in an angle and then press over the vertical line and click once. I keep it right there without moving it. I click again and I bring it up in an angle and I'm making somewhat of a W shape. So click again. You want the lines to be kind of touching each other. Okay, so click again, and there you have it. Now, here's one trick that's going to help you make this nice, quick, and easy. Go back to the selecting tool and you're going to multiply these lines that you just created. Okay, so click on the first one and press down on the shift key on your keyboard. Keep it pressed and then click over the other lines. Avoid the vertical lines. You don't want to multiply those, okay? Now that they're all highlighted, I can copy and paste. How do I copy and paste? I can go to my keyboard, Control C, Control V, and then the arrow key will help me move them to where I want them to match the other lines. Again, Control C, Control V, and move the arrow. So I want to put them very close to each other. I'm going to make a few. And I'm going to put them very close to each other as best as I can. And I'm going to keep doing that pattern for a little while. And I like to copy and paste my very last line, so that way I don't have to move them too much and they're close to each other when they're pasted. Okay, so here's one way you can move your lines very, very close. So the arrow keys has like a set or fixed amount of spacing. If you want to get something a little closer than what the arrow key gives you, press down on the shift key again, and then move the arrow. See how slow and close that could get to the other line, okay? Now, here's one trick. You can keep copying and pasting the same lines until you fill the whole page, or you can challenge yourself a little bit by selecting all of these lines that you already have, okay? So here's one way you can do it. Shortcut. Delete the vertical lines by clicking on it and pressing delete on your keyboard or backspace. Then you can select all this, Control C, Control V, and now you can move them with the arrow. Okay, and I'm going to use Shift and down key just to make sure they're not overlapping. I'm going to copy the same again, and I'm going to paste. Okay, so you spend more time at the beginning where you want to make sure your lines are in the right place, and then you can just keep copying and pasting, and you're going to create kind of like a pattern. So you can move them as long as they're highlighted. Okay, so move them before you do anything else after you paste them. And I'm copying and pasting every time because I don't want them to be too far. Okay, and this is where you could get a little creative. If you move them, okay, a little farther away, you start to create something that looks like, I don't know, maybe like a separate kind of wall or something overlapping something, something three-dimensional, etc. So you can play around with that and see what you can create, okay? If I put this here, for example, maybe, you know, maybe this here starts to look like a platform, or right here. See this? To me, that looks like a platform or a wall, or I don't know, something creative. All right. So play around with your lines and see what else you can create. For example, I have another set here, right? And notice how they look completely different, okay? And I use exactly the same technique, and I just shifted some lines to the right and some lines to the left, and this is what I got. So now it looks like a stacked pile of paper that's not so organized anymore, which is kind of normal in our everyday life anyways. All right, so there you have it. Play with it. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because if you click on that arrow key, things go back to normal, all right? And if you don't like it, you could just start all over again. So just select everything, delete it, start all over again. Just play, 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 and have fun with it, all right? And make your own variation.